Economic Armageddon intensifies with repo bailouts now $641 billion US dollars and counting. The number keeps going up.
Yes, today is an important show, Martin, because we have to update our viewers about what is happening in the repo market. We had about 3 weeks ago, we made an important declaration that Armageddon had started when the repo market blew up on the 17th of September 2019. And at that point, 3 weeks ago, we had said that roughly about 530 billion had been thrown at this market to stabilize it. Otherwise, interest rates in the money markets would have been too high, and you would have started to see a series of defaults among banks and hedge funds. So today, what we're going to do with the audience is actually give an update, because since that time, we said that the system was on life support and they would have to throw ever increasing amounts of money at this market. And that is what's happened in the last 3 weeks. Now, as of last Friday, it got up to about $616 billion Friday US time. So last week was the first time it actually went above 600 billion. Now, with the issues of the oil market blowing up over the weekend, and with a significant stock market crash in the last 24 to 48 hours. So today's Tuesday. So when I looked at the numbers this morning, which was reflective of Monday US time, the number had jumped even higher, from 616 billion to now $641 billion. So we've had a rapid increase of maybe 100 billion in about 3 weeks, and we also saw an important announcement from the New York Fed in the last 24 hours, saying that when it comes to these overnight loans, these overnight repos and these term repos, the amounts will be increased because of the significant stock market crash. And there's obviously significant concern about providing the market with enough liquidity. And we'll get into some of these details going forward. But it's above 600. And I think even maybe within the next week, we may even breach $700 billion.
Just if we recap on our last episode, what we said there was the Fed keeps putting more money in. They keep thinking it's a short-term fix. That short-term fix keeps getting extended. The amount they put in keeps going up and up and up, and it's going up even more.
Yes. I mean, they initially said a couple of short-term factors, short-term plumbing, and then they kept on saying that this repo crisis, it would end at a particular date, and they kept on saying, from October to November to December. Then in January they said it will have to go out to April, and now we've even seen some more disruption in the market, and now they're saying, well, we'll probably have to go for longer, and we have to even do more, and basically they can't stop. Because if they did stop, interest rate would shoot sky high, and you would start to see a series of defaults.
Yeah, and the coronavirus, which of course is a medical issue predominantly, is now creating a financial crisis. And what it's really doing is peeling back all of the coverings from what was always there. We always said there were significant issues in the financial system, right? Repos was a signal of that, but now basically it's all laid bare again. And just looking more broadly, John, the fact is we've got a number of central banks around the world who last week said they would actually step in and provide liquidity, etc., etc. So we should expect to see similar balance sheet expansion in other markets as well, Japan, the Eurozone, maybe even in the UK. This is really just more of the same old, isn't it?
Yes, and we also saw today with the Reserve Bank of Australia. I mean, they said that the liquidity taps are open if there is any stresses in the short-term money markets. It's interesting. The Australian press, they like to use euphemisms. Liquidity taps. Well, what is that? It's basically creating money out of nothing and just giving it to banks so that they don't go bankrupt. I mean that's effectively what we're talking about. Quantitative easing, money printing, repo operations, liquidity operations. All of this does come at a cost, and the cost is the value of the currency. And there are economic and social implications from this. And what we're hearing, other than really the show, is that the mainstream media, all the bank economists, people who make money from the debt market, including Switzer, including Joy. I mean, they have commercial interests where they make their living from the debt market. All of them are saying print, and obviously just save this debt market. And no one is telling the Australian public that there is a consequence to all of this activity and the activity. So if anyone wants to say, well, where's this Armageddon? How do I see it? Look at what's happening with the dollar. That's where the market is signalling to the Australian people, if you can see it or if you can't see it, that there is a problem with the currency and how central banks around the world are basically printing confetti to oblivion.
Yeah, and John, I think it's also true to say this week, in particular, with the movements on the stock markets and everything else, right? Again, the cracks are more visible, right?
Yes,
high
absolutely.
volatility. Stock markets going way down, way up. Everybody concerned about the financial system once again. So it's not just a coincidence, right, that it's happening at this time. All of those issues that have been stored up for years and years and years have been triggered by the virus and everything else. But it's back to those fundamental questions that you keep raising about too much debt, right? The fact that it's not an affordable way of dealing with the issues, and all the consequences of all that debt are just not being taken into account.